Thank you, Media Post. Great event so far, and I promise that data pairs really, really, really well with roast beef sandwiches. So hope you enjoy the presentation. It'll be quick. We're just here to talk about some things to consider and insights that are helpful to some of the pharmaceutical advertisers we work with when they're trying to measure the impact of their TV and video campaigns. So just to start with a little bit about iSpot, we have one job that we're focused on, and that is to provide brands and their agencies the most accurate, independent, and unbiased view of cross-channel TV and video performance in the marketplace. So we've been doing it since 2012, and we are incredibly trusted by huge brands. We work with 10 of the top 10 TV spenders in the marketplace and 85 of the top 100. So if I show you stats, you can trust them. A lot of people do, and we've got a really good reputation. So where I want to start today is just with a little bit of a snapshot on some of the data that we're tracking about the pharmaceutical industry and how they spend on TV. Viewership's getting very fragmented, so we're going to be focusing on both linear and streaming channels. In the first half of 2025 alone, pharmaceutical was responsible for almost $3 billion of TV linear ad spend. That is pretty significant. And we're tracking all of that in real time at an airings level. So we've seen 2,242 distinct creatives hit the glass over that time period. So there's a lot of competition out there. The space is really it's crowded and it's tough to win. People are fighting for share of voice. 34% of the dollars spent in linear were spent by the top 10 brands as far as TV advertising investment. So it's really hard to break through. A lot of people are turning to streaming channels to try to find white space. And in the first half, we saw Zepbound as the leader in pharmaceutical share of voice for streaming video channels with 4.26% overall share of voice. So when you're an RX marketer and you're trying to navigate all that noise and you're trying to break through, we have found that our partners really value having real-time competitive data at their fingertips. And this slide kind of represents what's going on out there. We have the top 10 streaming brands sorted by share of voice here, but you'll also see what their share of voice is and the rank is in linear TV. So when you're making decisions around, how much you want to spend in linear, how much to ask the business for, what your competitors are doing in streaming channels, do you want to be there? Or do you want to completely do more with less and avoid the big spenders in linear and move to streaming? This kind of data helps you make those informed decisions. And you see here, we're tracking brands not just on a brand-by-brand basis, but we're treating specific indications that they support as their own brands. So there's lots of different inputs to look at. You've got Skyrizi with multiple indications. They're not, the biggest streaming share of voice spender, but when you look at that combined with linear and consider the fact that they're promoting two indications, you can get an idea of how much money they're actually spending in market and what it's going to take to overcome that. Going back to what's gone on in first half and what's going on in linear specifically, of that close to $3 billion that's being spent, of the TV household viewing universe, that equates to just under 14% share of voice. That money, not share of voice, pardon me, 14% of the overall ad spend. That money has gone towards securing 212.85 billion impressions for the industry. Now, when you look at what that spend has bought you on an impression basis, you're only achieving 6% total reach. So you're spending a lot, you're getting 6% reach. Why is that? It's because, the battleground where you guys are duking it out with competitors is largely focused on news and sports, live sports in particular. These are expensive places to play. You've got all of the diabetes and, blood disease brands, Wegovy, Ozempic, Zepbound. They're really highly present in these two channels. And, it's super interesting to be able to drill down into some of this type of data to understand, what your spend gets you and kind of like what stakes there are to achieve share of voice in some of this programming. And maybe that factors into your decision to find white space and go elsewhere. Or maybe you decide you need to take your competitors on head-to-head in these environments, no matter what it costs. But on an impression basis, looking at sports specifically, NFL football was the 19th ranked Pharma impression level programming on an impression basis, followed by NBA, which was 30th on the list. NCAA, including March Madness, came in at 35th, SportsCenter 45th, and MLB 71st. That's on an impression basis, but when you look at it from a spend standpoint, NFL was the most expensive place to be and is number 1 on the ranker list. NBA is number 6, NCAA basketball number 7, MLB number 54. So it's hard to break through, and you need really good data to make calculated decisions about how to be strategic and how to use your dollars to their best advantage. With iSpot, this is a quote from IQVIA, who are a partner of ours in the pharmaceutical space. We're ensuring that every dollar spent on healthcare advertising is both measurable and impactful. Linear is a big gap, typically, to many brands' understanding of how effective their media spend is. It's hard to tie exposures in linear to things like outcomes. We're working with IQVIA to be able to do that because iSpot captures all of that real-time great linear TV exposure data. We can tie that back to how real-world metrics are being impacted, like script lift. And that's done via these strategic partnerships with folks like IQVIA. Just in general, having the right data can help you answer really, really hard questions. Am I getting what I paid for, spending all that on sports and news? I bought a Super Bowl ad. Did it run in the first quarter and the fourth quarter? If the game was a blowout, how many millions of viewers tuned out? Did you realize a return on investment that you anticipated based on the outcome of the game? You can look at your transition to streaming. If you're a historically linear-focused brand and you want to take advantage of some of the great privacy-compliant targeting that people are offering in the streaming space, how do you make the migration from linear to streaming to understand truly where the incrementality lies? And are you, wasting money through duplication, even though it's targeted? So really, the best approach to measuring ad effectiveness in TV and video specifically starts with having the right data to arm you to make those right decisions. And that's what iSpot does. And we partner with several pharmaceutical brands to make that a reality. So if you're interested in learning more, you can download our pharmacy transparency report that has a lot more in-depth data like I just showed you via this QR code. And obviously, I'll be around this afternoon and tomorrow. If you guys want to have a conversation about how iSpot data can help your brand, happy to do so. Come and find me. But thank you again for listening during lunch. I know that the lunch and learn isn't always the best slot, but I appreciate how engaged you guys all are. And I hope lunch is good because I'm about to get some. Thank you, guys.
All right, Sandy, well done.